welcome to The Wedding Common. I'm your host, Amy Kleowitz, and today we have a special episode on honeymooning during COVID. Joining us today is travel specialist and digital director at Condé Nast Traveler, Corina Quinn. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We're in special times right now. Especially, you've worked in the travel industry for a long time.
I have.
Talk to us about what the last year has been like for you.
It's unprecedented, I think, is the word of the day that I keep hearing over and over. I think that we've been working with a lot of pivoting because we have all felt and experienced how much has changed in a short amount of time. So I think just like any other element, the way our day-to-days were affected, the travel industry too has been learning and growing all along with the rest of us. So it's been a lot of change, but I think now we're ending 2020 on a much higher note. Looking into 2021 will be a lot more positive than what we've experienced in the last year.
Yeah, I mean, those are amazing points because obviously COVID has affected everyone in every industry, but it's really hit the travel industry hard because specifically we can't travel, we can't leave, it is not safe.
You forget how much we travel, whether it's for work, to see our families, to go on vacation. All of those segments and areas were hit, whether it's hotels or airlines, cruise lines, and just even destinations themselves. There's been a lot of ripple effects.
So for a couple who maybe just got married and want a honeymoon, what suggestions do you have?
I mean, the first thing I want to tell you is if you just got married, you can still get your honeymoon. Okay? I think what we have seen this year is that no, we can't travel the way we've been traveling. But it doesn't mean that we can't travel at all. I think we have to adapt our approach and our idea about travel.
It's really about kind of setting your expectations for this, and we've talked about this in other episodes. You know, if you're getting married during this past year during COVID, you've got to really realign your expectations. You can definitely still have the wedding you want, and you can also still have, you know, the honeymoon you want. It just may be later, or you may have to kind of restructure it for the meantime.
100%. And so I think we know, you know, if you're in the U.S., let's start with that. Our domestic markets are fairly open. I think it's pretty safe to drive places. Everyone has a different risk tolerance. People are flying. I think, though, you know, every state has a different way that they handle this. So you should do your research. And you should look into, you know, if your state that you're going to requires a quarantine, maybe if you can do a safe, successful quarantine, maybe instead of taking a weekend trip like you might have, you're looking at 4 weeks and you might be vacationing and working remotely. Or if you can drive for a quick getaway, you're going to do a long weekend, decompress, and hold off your really like the big honeymoon that you couldn't take this year internationally. Plan it for 2022 and beyond.
That really kind of seems to be the theme, right? Well, and we'll jump around, but there are some suggestions if you want to do. I know first moons are becoming really popular, so a lot of people are doing, you know, just a little getaway, either you know, a road trip or something local, and then planning, you know, once the chaos is over here. Hopefully for the future, am I right?
And there's so first moons were already a thing even before COVID, because I think with people's work constraints, the cycles, your PTO, it can be much more of a juggernaut, you know, to do the big blowout trip. So I think what COVID has given us is an opportunity. Like you said, whether you want to drive or you want to stay close to home, you can look at some really great driving. Like, I was just out in Western Pennsylvania, a resort called Nemacolin, and they really cater to honeymooners and couples and families, but they're on 2,000 acres.
Oh, lovely.
You can do anything you want. There's a spa, there's Michelin-starred dining, and then there's just like being outdoors to hike if you want to be, you know, out in nature.
That's great. So you kind of get a number of different types of mini moons in one place.
Oh, absolutely. But you look at, you know, even in central, you know, in Montana, there's a ton of places like this. A really popular place is the resort at Paws Up.
Paws Up?
Paws Up.
Paws,
Emphasis on animals.
Love it.
I know people who have been dog sledding there.
Oh my God, I would love to do that.
Getting the ranch experience, horseback riding, you know, like cowboy-style dinners around a fire pit. I think a lot of people like to be outdoors right now. They know that's a fairly safe option for them. So whether you're looking at like a camping or a glamping situation, I do think that these resorts that are a little more like out in the middle of things and not near a big crowded city give you those options.
That's great. And now glamping, I know, is definitely, of course, that's kind of the first thing on our list. There's like pods now, right? You can do like a glamping pod in the middle of nowhere that is completely safe.
100%. You know, a lot of campgrounds have gotten hip to this, so you should do your research, but there are some like websites dedicated to glamping and camping. Finding yurts that are luxury yurts. I saw a campgrounds in Luray, Virginia that is doing yurts right on the water.
What is a yurt?
So it's like a round tent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's like up on stilts.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And so they can be a little warmer.
Yeah.
If maybe you're not as, you know, if maybe building a campfire is not your area of strength, you know, like a little extra layer of protection for you.
You'd be there for hours with 2 sticks. That's
And so I think, you know, really what a lot of couples might be looking at are domestic drive-in road trip style trips.
Yeah, definitely road trips.
Depending on how far you're willing to go, how much you want to drive, but like looking at sort of like a getaway, like a little resort that can kind of give you everything you need, but on a short scale.
We had talked before, a lot of hotels are actually pretty safe right now. They're going through a lot of changes.
Huge changes, you know, and again, I don't want to push anyone outside of their comfort zone, but you know, the new policies and sanitation and protocols are really incredible. I mean, you're looking at everything from a touchless check-in, you're looking at no handoffs. I mean, you're looking at reduced capacity. You're never on top of each other in the hotels.
That's great.
The new cleaning standards include, there is technology out there that uses I hope I get this right. It's ionization technology. It kills viruses in the air.
Oh.
It's a filtration system.
Yes, I had heard a lot of hotels were they had to replace their filtration, their air filtering, so that was safe. Okay, but it's with ionized.
It's called ionization technology.
Interesting.
And it's a way it neutralizes the virus.
Okay.
So so many hotels got into this very early and said, if we've got to replace the filtration system, this may not be our first virus or pandemic. Let's just upgrade the tech now.
Yeah, Marriott was doing that.
Marriott was one of the first to announce a new cleanliness council. And to really put into, like, I mean, you can go to their websites, Hilton, Hyatt, you can go to their websites and see like all of the protocols that they've adopted and what they're continuing to do. I mean, even kiosks that like desanitize you as soon as you walk in the hotel. It's really nice.
Yeah, so again, within your comfort zone, but it's actually not as bad.
It is, and I think
as creepy as one might think.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think that people expect a hotel, particularly in a city or out, you know, I mean, or if you're used to living in a city, you expect crowds always, right? You're going to a resort, you expect it to be full of people, but because of the reduced capacity, because of these new standards they're adopting, you really are far away from people and you've got a lot of space.
Great, and you felt kind of a little more safe.
100%, and that does also give you the added benefit of extra attention.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, this is hospitality, and the hospitality industry has really suffered this year, and I think these people are very, very happy to be welcoming guests again and showing them like just what they excel at. The caveat is always like, no matter where you go, whether it's between states in the US or to a different country, check the government website, see what the latest information is. But you know, like Taiwan, for example, did a phenomenal job in their response. Very early on, back in April, when they saw cases rising, they shut down borders. Everyone was required to wear a mask. Their quarantine rules are very strict. You have a counselor checking in with you twice a day. In Taiwan, phones have trackers on them. So you can be traced if you violate the terms of your quarantine. But because of that, they are, in Taiwan, you can travel domestically.
As of now, you can.
As of now. You can travel domestically. Borders are still closed to international visitors. They're going to concerts there. They're back at cafes and doing everything just like they did before because it was a concerted effort. And so I think that one thing to consider is when you are looking at trips, like I know the Bahamas is back open, Puerto Rico is welcoming guests. I'm getting mixed feedback from the people who live there. And I think it's worth doing some research because these are islands that do depend on tourism dollars. But if you're going to go, be really considerate of the population. Do your part, wear your mask, do your sanitation. And I also say tip very, very heavily to show that you're being a gracious guest. Because the people out there are working for you. And it's just, I think a lot of goodwill goes a long way.
Absolutely. And there's kind of no good answer to any of these situations right now. So exactly, help support the locals there.
100%. It's case by case. And again, everyone's going to have a different risk tolerance. I think we should all be accepting of that and just take that into consideration and do your part to be as safe as you can.
Great.
I think, we talked a little bit about doing your mini moon, your first moon, long weekend, maybe a week, whatever. I think the fact that so many couples had to hold off on big international plans, big trips, whether it was a safari or just going to a destination that's really far away, they weren't able to do it. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think that now you have a little more time to plan, a little more time to save. pay it off.
Yeah.
I actually think that a lot of couples will be happy to sort of have that to look forward to. I think sometimes, and you can speak to this, I think sometimes there's so much happening leading up to the wedding.
Yeah.
The wedding goes over in 5 minutes, it feels like.
Yeah.
Then you're on your honeymoon and you're recovering from this like crazy couple of months. It's still great.
Yeah.
But to kind of like parse it out, I think then really allows you to like be in it and enjoy it.
Yeah, and you have something to look forward to, you know, if you're going to do the big safari you wanted to later.
Yeah.
Also, something that was suggested was, you know, a lot of people have had to reschedule their weddings, or they didn't get the massive wedding that they wanted to do, so they got married online. Well, guess what? That budget is sitting there. So you have a lot of extra money to pay off debt, maybe put a down payment on a house, I mean, depending on how big your wedding was. You know, like you said, pay off the honeymoon, the big honeymoon, so that you actually do get the honeymoon that you want. Maybe even better, because you now have extra funds that you did not spend on your wedding.
I think that, you know, it would not
Silver lining. Silver lining.
It's not an exaggeration to say a lot of couples, I think, find themselves and their budgets very stretched.
Yeah.
You know, no matter how diligent they are, you know, the costs, the extras have a way of finding themselves to you. And I agree. Take this time, really like sit down with your partner and say, what are our goals?
Yeah.
Where are we trying to get in 2 to 3 to 5 years?
Yeah.
Get that thing going, and then you're rewarding yourself in a year, taking that trip that you knew you wanted to take.
Yeah.
And having the time to really savor it.
Yeah. Great. And on that note, how do you see the travel industry recovering post-COVID?
You know, it's funny. I get asked this a lot. I talk to people in the industry about this a lot. And I will tell you, I think that travel is going to recover very well. Okay. I just think the timeline is going to be a bit varied. You know, one thing we have noticed is that people never stopped wanting to travel. People's love for travel didn't go away.
I miss it. Yep.
We all did. Their ability to travel the way they were planning to this year was what was compromised.
Yeah.
And so I think that there is, like you said, a silver lining.
Yeah.
I think the travel industry will rebound. I think destinations versus hotels versus airlines will rebound in different ways.
Okay, so it's not just going to be a mess. We're all okay and we can travel now?
I just don't see that, because it's been so different in different countries and even different states.
Yeah.
You know, I imagine it's going to be the same throughout the industry.
So like hotels may recover at a different rate that, you know, airlines may recover.
People might maybe people will start getting on domestic trips sooner, but they're not going to get back for business trips.
Yeah.
Right. And so that like you might start seeing some different patterns. Like I don't think people are going to travel for business at the same way as before.
Yeah.
In the same way, you know, we might not travel internationally at the same way as before right away for vacation.
So there is going to be kind of a lag time of readjusting back to,
I think so,
normal traveling. I mean, we talking a year? We talking 3 years?
I think depending on the segment, you're looking at anywhere from 1 year to 3 years.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of in consideration that we do have apparently this vaccine coming out, and so, you know, the next year will probably be trying to readjust to that.
Agreed. And I think that's an area to watch, right? Once the vaccine starts coming through, the forecasting probably will adapt and get a little more informed, right?
Yeah.
Where right now this is a little conjecture.
Yeah,
That is what we're hearing. And that's all said though, like I do think travel will come back pretty quickly once it can start coming back.
Yeah.
Because like we said, all I hear about from people is, okay, well, as soon as I can travel, I'm doing this. I can't believe I put off that, you know, 40th birthday trip. Yes. I can't believe we put off that anniversary trip. I can't believe we had to postpone our wedding and honeymoon.
We're all just so tired of being inside. So we're just, I gotta get out. I gotta get out now. I'm going crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's an interesting point. People are, once it's safe, probably going to travel pretty quickly.
So I think there is a silver lining to that. And I think, you know what, having a little extra time to plan it, to make it that much more special or that much more informed, or to take the stress off of the budget is not a bad thing. Yeah. You're going to enjoy it that much more on the other end.
Great. Yeah, very true. Well, thank you so much. This has been super informative. Hopefully it has been informative for you. So be sure to check out our regular episode on honeymoons with Corina that will be out soon. And if you like our channel, be sure to subscribe to our channel below, and we will see you next time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.